Women's rights over the last 100 years has been extensive. Likewise, the homosexual community has went through drastic changes over the last 30 years. The continuity of reforms in the homosexual community and within same-sex marriage have maintained through the 80s, into the 90s, and into the present day now. The first point that I'm going to talk about is the history of the homosexual community in the 80s. During that time, the homosexuals were blamed for the spread of HIVs and AIDS, when most of the time, most people got it through blood transfusions, because AIDS is spread through either the spreading of blood and usually bodily fluids, blood and bodily fluids. So it's almost unfair to say that homosexuals are to blame for the spread of HIVs, although it is more common in gay men. Even in present day, homosexuals cannot give blood. Some charities will not allow them to. There was a court ruling in the 80s that said there is no fundamental right to being a homosexual or being gay. That just goes against the Constitution. That goes against the rights that humans have as a person, that everyone has. In 1982, the U.S. Army declared that homosexuality is incompatible for military service. Well, in 1989, they did admit that having gay recruits or gay troops is just as good or better than having heterosexual troops. My second point is the history of the homosexual community in the 90s. The Defense of Marriage Act was introduced, which is that one man and one woman are joined in marriage, not same-sex couples. There were movies that did come out in the 90s that were about homosexuals. Some examples of that are Philadelphia, Full Speed, and I Think I Do. Philadelphia is about a man who works at a big company, and he is a homosexual, and he has HIV. Well, the company fires him for that, but they will not admit it, so there's a big legal suit to decide how unfair it was for them to fire him for him having HIVs. There was the first law to protect homosexual students, gay or lesbian, in public schools was done in the 90s to stop them from discrimination and so that they can learn the same as every other student. My third point is the history of the homosexual community into the present day. The Don't Ask, Don't Tell ban was repealed. That's in the military, meaning you don't tell about it, nobody asks about it, you're fine. California banned conversion therapy for minors, which is mostly they would take them and they would make them watch heterosexual pornographic material and show them how it was done, so that they would think that homosexuality was a sin and that they needed to be heterosexual and that was the right way. The states did start to legalize gay marriage. Some are like North Carolina, South Carolina, and Maryland. And finally, like I said, the homosexual community has went through drastic change over the last 30 years, and they're progressively making more progress, and even through the 80s, the 90s, and to the present day, and so on. Thank you.